you might remember that I did a talk at Edinburgh University a couple of years ago, and some gender critical people interrupted it and shouted a load of rubbish. But the talk was quite positive, and I think it went quite well. And importantly, it was talking about my experiences of being a target of the gender critical movement and all the horrible things they'd done to me, and how I think that we can like combat that so other people don't have to experience it. Importantly, or as I guess as a side note, really, the gender criticals who interrupted my talk got up and called me a liar, amongst other things, when I said that gender critical people were trying to ban trans people from public spaces, take away healthcare, and change the Equality Act. That was one specific point. I said they were trying to change the Equality Act to make it so trans people were banned from public spaces, and they directly called me a liar. And of course, now today they are celebrating that they have changed the Equality Act via the Supreme Court. So they were definitely lying, and I think they knew they were lying when they said that. Anyway, I did that talk, and that talk was organised at least partially in response to the fact that the gender criticals at this university, Edinburgh University, had organised a film screening on the university property of this anti-trans hate film called, of course, Adult Human Female. Allegedly, the film is like really terrible, but it wasn't about like none of the people who were going to go and watch that film were going to like learn anything. It was, it's just one of their little conspiracy films. It was about a show of power that they could show this hate film on university property, and there was a load of protests. And the first 1 or 2 times that the protests were there, they managed to like stop the film being shown. And I actually interviewed some of the protesters a few years ago on this channel about them shutting down the screening of this ridiculous hate film. So that was good. I think they did eventually show the film. I'm not sure. But it turns out, and I didn't know anything about this, there was a court case. The gender criticals who tried to show the film sued the university union, saying that the protests against their hate film were like illegal. And they were, classic gender criticals. They were trying to shut down protest because that is like what they exist to do at the moment. They're part of the authoritarian wing of the state, so they're all about shutting down protests. And the reason I've like linked this in with me is because they lost. That's good news. They lost the claim that they were making and get fucked, basically. But the reason that I feel this is related to me is because they felt this was related to me. In the judgment, they talk about me quite a lot. And they tried to say that the UCU, the University and College Union, supporting a protest against the hate film was contradictory because they didn't support a protest against me. And equally, the fact that my talk was like encouraged by the university and allowed to go ahead, but theirs wasn't, was like discrimination against them, which is fucking insane on the face of it, because they were literally holding this like hate rally, and I was a victim of their hatred, talking about the experiences I'd had being targeted by them, and they protested and interrupted my talk. So it's not even like, it went ahead without interruption. Like the big difference here is my talk had way more people at it than their film screening did, and the protest against their film screening had way more people at it than their protest did against me. They had 3 people, one of whom was a lecturer at the university. So, yeah, it was all kind of ridiculous. So I just kind of wanted to talk about, like, it's really weird. I feel like, they're probably not legally obligated to involve me, but they were like quite heavily using me in their arguments, like talking about me. Maybe we can look at the judgment because it was interesting. But let's just first look at what the UCU say. So they are quite in support of trans people, which is good. This is one of the bigger unions in the country. Employment Tribunal rejects claims university and college union discriminated against members on grounds of gender-critical beliefs. Yeah, fuck off. The university and college union successfully defended claims against it in an unemployment tribunal. In an employment tribunal from 2 UCU members. So these are members of a trans-supporting union who are themselves anti-trans, who are complaining the union is pro-trans. Get another fucking union, mate. Go and start a GC dickheads union of like the 17 people who hate trans people, who are all probably politicians and work for the EHRC, and, hold your own hate film screenings in your own property. Anyway, claim they were discriminated because of their gender-critical beliefs. The case relates to their film screening. The claimants believed Action discriminated and harassed them. It's just unbelievable. They concluded that they were not treated detrimentally. So, get fucked. In December 22, the UCU's Edinburgh branch committee had written to the university principal asking the university not to host or facilitate the film screening because it saw a film as an attack on trans people's identities and not in line with the university's dignity and respect policy. The UCU Edinburgh branch encouraged members and students to attend alternative events being held by the Staff Pride Network and Students Association. The claimants, who are UCU members, then wrote to the union's general secretary asking her to confirm they were entitled to their gender-critical beliefs. Entitled to our beliefs. Like, you can believe whatever ridiculous clown, hate-filled bullshit you like, and you're entitled to it in the same way that you're, like, entitled to have a brain and think. Or in the case of gender criticals, not think. But that doesn't mean you can go around holding hate films and intimidating people and campaigning to remove their human rights without pushback, without people protesting against you. Ridiculous supremacist losers. So, of course, that she confirmed that gender-critical beliefs are recognised to be legitimate philosophical beliefs. This is like a legally state-enforced mantra that you have to repeat now because of the gender criticals. I don't feel the need to pressure any union into saying that my beliefs are legitimately held philosophical beliefs because we know that. They know that. The union knows that. Of course, trans people should be able to have human rights. That's like obvious. The gender criticals know that the only way that they can hold their little hate rallies is because they managed to lie in court and say that gender critical is just simply and solely the belief that sex is binary and immutable. And then they can hold these, host these films saying all kinds of horrible things about trans people and calling to take away our rights. And the law has somehow, and media has somehow fallen into this position now where they can bully people into saying this, because if you don't say this like mantra, then you're risking getting a lawsuit from them. But this person got a lawsuit anyway. She noted that the UCU members hold many opposing views, and it's not for the UCU to stand in the way of members and branches protesting certain expressions of protected beliefs, like the belief that gender critical should fuck off. The claimants tried to make the case that various social media posts expressing solidarity with trans people or opposition to the film were harassment. They actually genuinely tried to argue in court that posting in support of trans people is making them feel harassed. Like, these people are just vile. They know that they are trying to game the law here. They know they're not being harassed. It's absolutely pathetic, and it's disgraceful that that's even a thing that they think they can get away with, and I'm very glad the judge shot this down. But of course, they have unlimited money. Maybe they'll appeal this, and if it goes to the Supreme Court, who knows? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. It's welcome to have this positive decision at the start of Pride Month, and at a time when trans and non-binary people feel under attack, This decision demonstrates that trade unions and others can stand up for trans rights and trans inclusivity, and our union is committed to continuing to promote a more equal and safe world for all people, regardless of their gender identity. That's a good claim. To the two dickheads who are part of this union who hate trans people, just go somewhere else. Fuck off. The UCU, this is unrelated to this, but they have done some quite strongly worded pro-trans stuff. So they've got this statement here on the Supreme Court ruling, and they say, we unequivocally reject this ruling's reduction of womanhood to biology. As Olympic testing and related media forays have indicated, the category of biological sex is potentially exclusionary for some women, including those assigned female at birth. This includes chromosomes, hormone levels, and secondary sexual characteristics. In addition, the biological policing of women's bodies can lead to the harassment of gender non-conforming women and black women, as was demonstrated in the recent Olympic Games. J.K. Rowling. Women are not physically inferior versions of men. Our function is not one of broodmares. We repudiate the equation of women with reproductive function as profoundly misogynistic. This is a strong statement. This is really good. So the UCU, at least at the moment, are very good. And they say quite a lot of very pro-trans stuff here. The ruling's definition of lesbian is based solely on sexual attraction, and biological sex is homophobic, transphobic, and aphobic. We completely reject any policing of LGBT identities. So, very strongly worded statement for them. There was a Guardian article on it. It's the UK Guardian. I know last week I said maybe they're getting better. This one isn't. This article is trash. It's whining about the gender criticals and giving them all their say, and then finally at the bottom you get one sentence from the union. So yeah, bullshit article. But let's look at the judgment bits. This is a bit self-indulgent, I've got to say, because I'm just going to be looking for a judgment that talked about me, but it's interesting to see. I'm just literally just a random trans person. So we have here the full judgment. It is, of course, 1 trillion pages long, so we're not 52. We're not going through this. We are going to search for my name. They spelt my name wrong. And you just realised that. Great. The official ruling spells my name wrong. Does it spell it wrong in every single place? No. No. That's why I didn't notice it before. They spelled it wrong once and correctly the other 6 times. They've got a little bit of from my talk here about dog whistles and sex matters, which I think is good to have in an official legal ruling. So I was saying about how the gender criticals use dog whistle politics, and it's where you say what you don't say what you think, and you come up with something different, basically, to conceal it. We all know what dog whistles are. I was explaining it to a group of people there, so that was good to see. This made me laugh. On the 17th of January 2023, the branch retweeted a SPN tweet advertising an event to take place on the 27th of January, at which YouTube star Katie Montgomery was to speak on combating online hate and the gender critical movement. It was very explicit in saying it would be her own personal account of online hate and would discuss ways of coping with its impact. Which I did. That was the whole thing. That was what it was about. By the way, I think I've told this story on the channel before, but of the 3 people who interrupted my talk, we had a house party afterwards, got really drunk, then me and some people went clubbing, and we bumped into 2 of them, who I think were a couple, at the gay bar that we went to. And one of them came up and said that they thought that the hate I had experienced was really bad, and said they felt bad about it. So, I really believe that there are some gender critical people, or there used to be more a high percentage, but less now, who at least are aware that what they're doing is horrible, but they, for some reason, have bought into this culty worldview or something. But they all know deep down that they're on like the aggressor side, the hate side, the side that's like doing the oppressing. And maybe they justify it by thinking trans people are disgusting, or saying that we have too many rights already, or, this usual right-wing bullshit. But they do know. But yeah, it was funny to see me officially branded a YouTube star in this ruling. It's funny that they got a transcript of my talk. I didn't provide a transcript. I just talked. So someone had to go through and transcribe my entire talk. They really went in on dog whistles. So, she considered... interestingly, they do she, her me the whole way through as well, so that's good. So this was argued by Naomi Cunningham, who's like she's like the top gender critical legal people. So it's good that she is horrific as a person. I feel like it's very dangerous to give your opinion on a gender critical person, especially when they're a lawyer, because gender criticals do not like people criticizing them. They sue people all the time. But I personally, in my personal opinion, think that the views of Naomi Cunningham are among the worst I've encountered. Very not what I agree with in the strongest way I could possibly communicate that to you. I think they are very, very grim. So it was good that she had to refer to me as a person the whole way through this, which I'm sure she, in my opinion, possibly wouldn't have enjoyed. She considered the title of the film to be a dog whistle, in her view, meaning trans women don't have rights. That trans women shouldn't have rights. That's the point. Not that we don't have rights, because we did have rights up until the Supreme Court ruling. The claimants and those with gender critical views saying that is stating the dictionary definition. Yeah, but you're not actually, so get fucked, you liars. What else do we have here? They really didn't like the dog whistles. Yeah, exactly. Gender critical people know how to use dog whistles. It's like a core part of being a gender critical person. Conceal your power level. In cross-examination, Mr. Butters, good name, was asked what would have happened if someone with gender critical views had come to him and said they felt threatened by Katie Montgomery's talk. But what he should have done is laugh them out the room, because that is fucking insane. The reason that trans people feel threatened by a film called Adult Human Female, which is just campaigning to remove trans people's rights, is because we know these people who hate us enough to want to remove our rights actually have political power, and, as evidenced by what has unfolded since this talk happened, have been able to remove some of our human rights. And that is terrifying. And of course it's threatening. And of course we feel threatened by gender critical people when they send us constant abuse, threats, dox us, assault us in some cases, and they try and take away our rights. Of course they feel threatened. If a gender critical person feels threatened by me, like, in what way? That I am there? That I am existing? That I'm talking about all the hate that I've received from them? Like, just fucking pathetic. Like, absolutely pathetic. They know they are lying if they say they feel threatened by this. It's like when a gender critical person sees a trans person in the toilet and they go up and confront them and get in their face and say they shouldn't be there or whatever. They're not feeling threatened by the trans person. They're not, like, afraid for their safety. They are having a power trip. They know that they have the power to ruin this trans person's day or potentially life, and they're going to do it because it makes them feel powerful. And it's the same with this. The reason they were hosting that film wasn't because any of them wanted to see it. They could see it free on the internet. They wanted the power trip of being able to host it on the university grounds. And Now, when they're saying they're feeling threatened by my talk, it's because they're having a power trip. They know that there are rules in place which are clumsy and allow them to pretend to feel threatened by someone pushing back against the horrible things they've done to me personally and to trans people in general. He stated that the content of the talk was not known until after it happened. If, however, they had information as they had for the film, they would have acted accordingly. What does that mean? When asked now how he would have reacted if he had a complete script of her talk, he might have taken the same stance in writing to the principal, relying on the dignity and respect policy. That would have been insane. Like, if he's telling the truth there, that is insane. And if he's watching this video, I'd like to talk to him about it. And I would like him to explain to me how that is remotely plausible. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I was listing off the ways in which gender critical people are trying to ruin our lives and the horrible things they've done to me personally in the past. And you want to shut down my talk? Get fucked. I'm glad that these people... I'm glad that the Tribunal does not accept that Katie Montgomery's talk is an appropriate comparator under the Equality Act. It was a talk and not a film, which could be viewed before screening. It was not advertised by Evan Bright with the same questions in the promotional literature, which some could find to be provocative and contrary to trans rights. Exactly. Get fucked.